we have our memories of our mothers. My mother was and as I told you before, she was a very, very strong woman, very strong. There was 8 of us kids. She didn't give any slack, because she couldn't. If she gave slack, the warriors would overtake her. So she knew she had to keep it tight, and she did. And she did it in love. She loved me a little less, but the deal was, she loved me, and when I needed it, she was disciplined, and believe me, she believed in discipline. But as the old saying goes, she never, one scripture she fulfilled her whole life, she never spared the rod. I can promise you, she never spared it. But she never used it when it was not needed to be used. And with that, the very definition of motherhood is servitude. Because that's what a mother is a servant. I know, I'm a father, and with Renee, we know what it's like to have kids, and the kids not thinking about what you do or what you're having to do to take care of them, But the deal is that we're servants, and as mothers, yours goes farther beyond the father, and it was the way the Lord established it to. And even in the Bible, the Lord honors mothers in powerful ways. Genesis 3:20 says, Adam named his wife Eve because she would become the mother of all the living. Guys, from the very beginning, Eve was the mother of all living. It was the woman that was going to be the one giving birth, which is a testimony to the fact that God established that between one man and one woman, the children would come into the world. That was the given. That was the standard. It will always be the standard. It will be the truth. No matter what this world says, that will always be the truth. And it's powerful because this is the way he desired it. This is the way he wanted it. Exodus 20:12 says, honor your father and your mother so that you may live long in the land the Lord your God has given you. This was a blessing that he had given to the children of Israel, that a part of the 10 Commandments, and one of them was to establish the fact that they were to honor their mother and their father. And with this commandment, the honoring wasn't a matter of what kind of mother you had. It was a matter that she was a mother, and you honored her, you respected her. It says honor. They honored the fact that they were pregnant and they had a child. Isaiah 66:13 says, as a mother comforts her child, so will I comfort you, and you will be comforted over Jerusalem. It's powerful when the Lord uses mothers as a symbol of his comfort. That's pretty deep. That's pretty powerful. When he says, I'm going to comfort you like a mother comforts you. I'm going to hold you. I'm going to keep you. I'm going to cover you like a mother does. It's profound. He could have used any other illustration, but he used mother. The power of a mother to care for her kids, to cover her kids, to love them when they are, and all of us know this, when they're unlovable, loving them, caring for them, keeping them, providing for them no matter what. And as he said with this, he was talking to the children of Israel, he said, I'll provide for you just like a mother would. Regardless of, I'll take care of you. And we all understand that. There's power in being a mother. Proverbs 1:8 says, listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching. They are a garland to grace your head and a chain to adorn your neck. There's a difference between a father and a mother. As a father's instruction, now my dad, for us boys, there was always instruction every week what we had to do. It was a given. But my mother was the one that was teaching. My mother was the one that was imparting to teach us the way of life, the things of life. Now, sadly, my mother was not a Christian mother when I was young. But still, her teaching to us, her instruction to us was what was good, what was right. She championed against, and that's what a mother's love and care is to her children as she teaches them. That her trust, her confidence is the day's going to come, they're going to win the race. They're going to cross the line. They're going to make it, just like a necklace around their neck. They're going to make it because she's covered them. And most importantly, she's covered them in prayer. She's kept them in prayer. There's nothing more important than that for all of us as mothers and fathers. But the deal is that for a mother, it becomes the ultimate. I want to read an illustration. It says, once upon a memory, someone wiped away a tear, held me close and loved me. Thank you, mother dear. M is for the million things she gave me. O means only that she's growing old. T is for the tears she shed to save me. H is for her heart of purest gold. E is for her eyes with loving light shining. R means right, and right shall always be. Put them all together, they spell mother, a word that means the world to me. And there's no doubt that Howard Johnson. Guys, for all of us, we are so blessed with our mothers. And I've always said that I was always a mama's boy. She was always precious, and she is precious to me. She was always strong. She was always secure. I was always felt comfortable, stayed at home with my mom. I knew the woman that she was and the strength that she had to take care of us. And I also knew the strength that she had to discipline us, and I had to respect that. You know, a mother loves from the start, and a mother loves in the middle, and a mother loves to the end. When a mother loves, she loves. And you know, it transcends, you know, for Renee and I with our family. Now, with a mother's love transcends and it goes on. It's a legacy that moves on. As it's shared in the beginning, it's shared throughout the rest of the family. It's given to them to understand how to love, how to care, how to cover for their children. You know, for us, Renee was 18 years old when Leah was born. And we got married when she was 16. And our plan was that we wouldn't have any kids until she was 21, but that didn't work. She would be 19 in September, but Leah was born in July. But I remember the day in the hospital when she delivered Leah, and we were there in the room, and she held Leah for the first time. It was an immediate love. It didn't take time. It didn't take a season. She loved her. Guys, a mother, because the child was a part of her, and that's the way the Lord had ordained it to be. It's part of the father. But the father didn't walk 9 months seeing that child grow inside of him. That child was a part of her. And she was going to do everything in her life, as all of you would as mothers, to take care of those children, to cover them, to protect them. And that's the mother's love starts from the beginning. It's always initial, it's always immediate. 1 Samuel 1:22 says, "But Hannah did not go up, for she said to her husband, 'Not until the child is weaned, then I will take him, and he may appear before the Lord and remain there forever.'" Hannah was barren, and she had gone to the temple, and basically Eli came out, and she was there praying. He thought she was drunk. And she said, "No, I'm not drunk, I'm praying." And she was praying for a child. She wanted a child. It was her earnest desire. And she made a promise to the Lord. She said, "Lord, if you give me this child, I'll give him back to you." Now, for a mother, the hardest thing is to release, is to give place or give away. But for Hannah, as she had that child, she said, this was during the time when they were supposed to go back for the feast, or back for the festival. She was supposed to go with him, but she said, "No, I'm not going to the child's weaning, because when I go, I'm going to leave him." And by understanding, he was 3 years old when she took him back to the temple, and she left it there with Eli. She gave him to him. And guys, the greatest thing a mother can ever do is to give their child to God, is to release that child to God from as early age as possible, to instill, to instruct, to direct that child toward Him. You will never waste a moment that you share, that you speak, that you read the Word over, that you pray over, that you share with them about who He is. You'll never waste a moment in that. It'll always be powerful. It'll always be something that's transformative to them. They may not say that to you, but it is. It's something that will change their heart, change their direction. And I know for many of them, and believe me, I understand, sometimes it doesn't happen as quick as you'd like it to. But I promise you, we serve a God that never forgets the prayers. He never forgets what you've asked, what you've desired, what you've longed for, especially for your children. Surrender is hard. You know, I can't imagine surrendering my child at 3 years old and leaving him somewhere and saying, "Okay, I'll see you." But she knew she was leaving him to do the work. She never knew that Samuel was going to be one of the greatest prophets that there were as she left him. Proverbs 4:20 says, "My son, give attention to my words, incline your ears to my saying. Do not let them depart from your eyes. Keep them in the midst of your heart, for they are life to those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issues of life." This verse is an instruction, as with mothers and for us, that to keep our eyes fixed on Him. For them to be able to help their children know and understand there's nothing more important than guarding their heart. The Scripture tells us to guard our heart and our minds. And a mother will have more opportunity a lot of times than a father to be able to make sure that that child's mind is guarded. And we're living in a society where that's one thing that's more important than ever before. Because there's so much stuff out there that can destroy a child in a moment. There's so much stuff that can draw a child away to a place where they can be destroyed. But for mothers, please, I pray that as it says, instruct them, direct them, guard their hearts. Make sure you're watchful of what they see, what they do, and how they do what they do, so that you can make sure they're doing the things that are right. That's not leading them to a place that will draw them astray. Because believe me, there is an enemy that wants to draw them astray. But as surely as they grow up, and they do, believe me, I know when they're little, you're thinking, and you will always be a mother. I mean, our kids are older. My baby will be 40 years old this year, but he's still my baby. So the thing is that we'll always be parents, but the relationship changes. But as our kids have kids, I pick sometimes because with Leah, because they're closer to us than the rest of the grandkids, sometimes she picks because she says, "You're not the same parents that raised me when you're with my kids." She remembers how different it was when we raised her, but with the grandkids, I don't have to be strict, That's not my obligation. I can do whatever I like. I can spoil or whatever else and let them go home. It's your problem. But with it, and I know what it's like. Believe me, we had 4 teenagers at one time, so I know exactly what it's like to have teenagers in the house. But as you love them as they grow and get to the middle of life or just get older in life, Luke 2:39 says, "So when they had performed all things according to the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee to their own city Nazareth. And the child grew and became strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him." Joseph and Mary took Christ back to their hometown once they came back. And they took him to Nazareth, and he grew up in an understanding and in a knowledge. Now I know this is Jesus, and you say, "Well, Jesus already knew everything." Well, he did, but he still had to be instructed in everything. His given responsibility was that his mother and father were to instruct him in the way in which he was to live. Now his father was a carpenter, so no doubt Joseph taught him all the things as far as working with wood and all. But his mother had an opportunity to teach him about the truth. His mother had an opportunity to drill into him and instruct him and give him the ways of life that he should live. Mary was Jesus' earthly representation of love. And she loved him. She loved him through each stage of his life. She desired to do for him what was all she needed to do in order to get him to where he needed to be. And I know it can't be easy because she had already been told what his life's end was going to be. For us, as we have a child, we never know what each day will bring. We never know what life will bring. But with her, she'd already been told that he was born to save the world. She didn't understand exactly what all that meant at the time, but she knew it was going to bring about a time when she was going to have to let go of him. And so for her, she worked and labored to make sure she did exactly what God asked her to do. And that's all he's asking all you mothers to do, is to do exactly what he asked you to do with your children, to lead them and guide them. Luke 15:17 says, "But when he came to himself, he said, how many of my father's..." Wait a minute. I had another scripture in here. What did I do with it? Let's Luke 15:17. "But when he came to himself, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger? I will arise and go to my father, and will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him." Now I know this is the level of father, but I want you to understand something. Is for God, he is father and mother to us. And I want you to understand the same love, because it wasn't this child didn't have a mother. This child did have a mother, and this mother loved him just as much as the father did of him as a prodigal. And her desire was the same as her father. The father was that he would come back. And guys, if you're living today and you've got a child that's prodigal, that's gone, that's not where they're supposed to be, don't stop praying. Don't stop covering them. Continue to cover them. Continue to show the love of Christ to them. Continue to instruct them in the way they should go. You may be the only one that is praying for them. If you don't pray, then who is covering them? We have a given responsibility and a given call from the Lord to never give up. Until our last breath, we must continue to pray. We must continue to call out to the Lord. Our prayers outlive us. Believe me, when you pass on, your prayers don't stop. What you've asked of the Lord, he will continue to do. And some of those things may not be fulfilled until after you're gone, but you can trust the Lord. You can have confidence in him. And for a mother, loving them when it's hard. As we get older, Leah's getting in trouble today, but anyway, as we get older, you learn your kids, and our house in Charlotte, they'd slide out the window, and everything, you're thinking, my gracious alive. We're going to have to bolt the doors shut and everything else. But you learn as you grow, but you got to keep loving them. You got to keep loving them and caring for them, because you know what you believe the Lord's will for you is for them. Guys, parenting will never be easy. And it most definitely isn't for a mother. But it always is a demand from God for us to do everything we're supposed to do, according to His will, not ours. He has plans. Just as surely as Psalms 139 says that He has plans for us, He has plans for our children. He has purpose. He has destiny. He has a design for their life. And our commission is, as a mother, your commission is to help them make sure that design comes to pass. That you show them and help them see the way to Him first and foremost, but then in Him to find a destiny of their life, to be able to know where they're supposed to go. A mother's love loves to the end. And many women who followed Jesus, this is Matthew 27, and many women who followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering to Him, were there looking from afar off, among whom were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Jose, which was Jesus' mother, and the mother of Zebedee's sons. Now when Mary was there, when Jesus was dying on the cross, now I can't begin to imagine what it was like for her to have to endure watching her son, knowing that this was actually the end that she knew was coming. But she loved him, and she was going to be there to the end. And she was there until he said it was finished and he died. And she was no different than any other mother. And for any of you mothers that have walked through the loss of a child, I can't imagine that pain. But she had that same pain at the loss of Jesus. Even though she knew that his death wasn't a normal death, that it was going to be a payment for the sins of the world, she still lost a son that day, in the sense that he wouldn't be with her from then on. And for all of us, we must love, we must care, we must cover, even to the worst of their situations of life, even to the places where you don't understand. We must love them and care for them and keep them throughout it all. Proverbs 3:5 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths." For a mother, that must be one of the verses that you live on, that you trust the Lord and you don't lean to your own understanding. It's easy to lean to our own and kind of understand, or at least think we understand what we should do or how we should do it. But trusting in the Lord that what we've asked, He's faithful to do, is hard. It's hard to release. It's hard for us to let Him have His place to be able to do it His way. Because, hey, I'm no different than you are. I think His way is slow. It seems like, hey, Lord, you could speed this up just a little bit. I kind of like a result a little bit faster. But His way's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. He knows exactly what He's doing. He knows when it needs to be done. And for all of us, we need to trust Him and have confidence in Him that He does know. The one verse I don't know why I didn't put it in there. When Christ was at the wedding in Cana, and His mother came up to Him, and she told him, hey, the deal is they're out of wine. They need we need you. And Jesus makes the statement, woman, what does that have to do with me? And she looks at him and says, do whatever He tells them to do. And that's just like that, because I said so. Basically, that's what Mary was saying, because I said so, you're going to do what... But the ultimate end here is that the reason why Jesus stepped into it was because He knew the law. The law said, honor your mother and your father. So His mother had already brought Him up before Him and said, hey, he's the man. He can take care of this situation. He knew he had to honor his mother. He could not do it. If he had not done it, he would have sinned. So he had to honor her. And so he said, okie dokie. So there's the water pots. Fill them up. And they gave the head of the wedding the wine that was the best. And yeah, she kind of pushed him a little bit to start his ministry. But she knew and understood it was time. And for a mother, I know it's hard sometimes when you see a time or you know something should be and it's not. Your desire to push. And for him, he knew he would have waited. Okay, it's a wedding, big deal. Why should I start here? What's the big deal? But it was important to her. And she was important to him. And I say this for kids. Don't ever disrespect or don't ever demean your mother. Love them. Care for them, because their concern's always going to be to love you, to care for you, to cover you, to take care of you, and to ask of you to do the things that are not easy to do. Guys, and I've said it, because I said so or whatever, I've said it 1,000 times as a parent. And I hated it when my parents told me that. But I'm thinking, that is not an answer. That's an excuse. You got to have a little more than that. You got to give me a little more just because I said so. But as my daddy always told me, he would add to that, because you eat in my house and you live under my roof, so that's enough. You're going to do what I tell you to do. He'd always add to it. Mama never said anything else because I said so. And it's the same with us in the Lord. Guys, he does in his own way say, because I said so, because he's truth. And his truth is perfect to lead us, to guide us, to help us to become the best of who we are, but also to do the best we can do to rear, to raise up. That's our commission in life. Guys, you could gain the whole world. You could give your kids everything in the world and lose out on the most important thing that you have, and that is to rear them in the Lord, to raise them up to know him. All the other stuff, okay, that's great. Hey, maybe be the next Mark Zuckerberg and be a billionaire for Christ. That's wonderful. But here's the deal, be a billionaire for Christ. Don't be one for the world. Help lead them that way. Help guide them that way so that they can be and know him. That's the ultimate of all our lives, is to know him. There's no greater joy, there's no greater privilege that we have in that. And for Mother's Day, I want you to be blessed, Mother. I want you to know that even though sometimes you may think people take it for granted or don't consider, believe me, the Lord does. The Lord considers everything you've sacrificed, everything you've given, every time you've cried out, every time you've prayed. He's heard it all. And I can promise you, he will be the one to cover you. He'll be the one to repay you. Your reward in heaven is great because you were willing to be the mother you needed to be hard sometimes, but with love. But he will honor you because of it. He will give back to you more than you've ever given, because you were willing to do what you were called to do. There's nothing more important than that. We're living in a world, and I know even this week I read an article, and we were talking about it Wednesday night. A minister's been ministering for 30 years. Why, I don't know. She is a woman. She's come up with the thought now that she says there's value in all religions, and that she believes that all of them have value, so there are multiple ways to get to God. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, you've lost your mind. There's only one way to get to God, and it's through Jesus Christ. Yeah. Now, I don't know what God she was talking about, but it wasn't the one that I serve, because ours is Yahweh. He's the one and only. He's Jehovah. And guys, the only way you're going to get to him is through Christ. I want you to understand that. If you ever hear me say anything else like that, hit me with a bat. Knock me out. Take me out. Because if that's the case, I want to get out of here before I get real stupid. Because here's the truth. That's the only way. And as mothers, please instruct your kids towards Christ. Instruct them to know him, to serve him. Believe me, I would rather my kids be picking up trash on the side of the road and know Christ than to be sitting in the top corner rooms and offices and be millionaires and not know him. Because I want to make sure of their eternity. That's what my heart is. And I know it's Renee's as well. And so for all of us, let's labor to do that work. And yes, it is work. For a lifetime, it's work. But it's worth every moment of it, I promise you. For what it'll weigh out in eternity for them. And it will. It'll weigh out in eternity. You would please stand this morning. First and foremost, I want to pray for the mothers. I know some mothers here, they're still in the process. Some mothers here, you're on the other side of it. Your kids are adults. But the relationship's there. And hopefully now they're looking to you for advice to help them get through what you've already been through. Because that's usually the way it works. And may you be there for them to help them. Don't ever stop. And don't ever let yourself let go of the fact of your opportunity to share, to minister, to pray, to cover. Because it'll always be the best thing you can ever do. Father, I do pray over our mothers today. I ask you to bless them. In this life, Lord, even as husbands, to our wives and our children, telling them thank you and showing them and giving and all, those are temporary things, and I know they're good to do. But Father, the ultimate is I want them to know your love. I want them to know how much you love them and appreciate their willingness to sacrifice and to surrender greatly for the sake of myself as well as our children. To do the things that we don't even see them do. But they do it because it's what you have asked them to do. So I ask you today, Lord, to bless them, to cover them, to keep them. You know, as I shared today, I know they love from the very beginning. And I know they love when life is hard. And I know they love to the end. They love to the end of the time that maybe the child is living with them and moves out. They continue to love, they continue to cover, they continue to pray, because what they want, what they desire, what is your will for them. So I pray, Lord, that wherever they're at in their journey with their children, that you'll strengthen them, you'll cover them, you'll keep them, you'll give them wisdom on how to do what you're asking them to do, that it will glorify you, but also bless them. And give them strength, Lord, and give them peace at this moment. Maybe they're in a place that's hard. Maybe their children are in a place that it's hard. Give them peace to know you've heard their cries and you're with them. You've gone before them, and you will help them in that place. You will strengthen them in that place. And I just thank you for it, Lord. And I just give you praise for your blessing to all of us, your covering to all of us. And God, even as we sang that song this morning, I speak Jesus. Lord, I speak Jesus over this congregation, over this people. I speak the name that's above every name. That name that'll set the captive free. That name that'll bring liberty, bring strength, bring wholeness, and all that they need, Lord, to find in that name. So I pray today, Lord, that they will be covered and kept. And we thank you for it, Lord. We do. We thank you and we praise you in the mighty and in the powerful name of Christ.